All right, so we're on air, and I am sending you guys the link to the ideas list that I sent out before, but just in case you don't have it, we're going to pretty much go over that. Me and Justin had an opportunity to not go talk to, but we had to hang out with Liz and Martin, and we went over a couple ideas that we had, and they really liked all of them. But we want to get your feedback on which ones you guys think are attainable goals and not um, like a fantasy in that sense. So, and if possible, we would like to divvy out the work a bit so we can get these achieved faster than something like the pace that me and Justin can work out by ourselves. So, I'm going to go down the list. If you have any questions, just stop me and we'll go over them. So, uh, the list I gave you is a very basic list. We have a more conclusive list that me and Justin share. It just pretty much goes in more detail about like the book or whatever. So I didn't want to flood this conversation with the tiny details. I wanted to go over the big stuff. So one of the big topics.
Hey,
Did we catch you in bed? So real quick, Bill, I'm just going to go over. I don't know if you were here when I shared the link again, so Bill could see. So let's go over this list. Maybe I should share my screen. That might make it easier. Uh, okay, I can't. Does that work? Can you guys see it?
Yeah, looks great.
Okay. So most of you probably have it open, but let's go ahead and get started. So the top of the list is GDG onboarding. So I know we don't have that many new GDGs coming up into our regions. At least, I guess I can't speak for you guys, for the rest of you guys, but I think we had like three or four last year in the Pacific region. But it was a kind of a slow process, and it seemed like we could provide things to the newer GDGs that we've already established and know, and give them like a good place to start off with instead of kind of going, hey, welcome, go have fun, go do your first meeting kind of thing. So a couple goals we have for the GDG onboarding were reviewing and updating the current site. Um, it's kind of old and it's kind of vague, so we would like to revive that, but that creates effort, not effort, but access to it is kind of hard. It's not run by Martin or anyone. It's run by Google proper, and it seems like it's really tough to get them to do anything on it. So to kind of divert away from that a bit, we were thinking about making this a welcome box. So what this welcome box is be a kit that we could start to our new GDGs, and it will have a welcome letter from the regional leads, which is Liz and Martin, kind of pretty much going, hey, welcome to the family. Oh, sorry for the never-ending windows. Um, Pretty much a letter saying, welcome to the family, we're really happy to have you, blah, blah, blah. And for every particular region, we'll have a generic welcome letter from the mentors in the box too. Any contact info will be in there so that they know where to kind of start. It will also provide a set of stickers, like some GDG/Google swag they can give out for their first meeting. Either GDG stickers, pens, anything that is we can mass produce and give out. The second thing will be the organizer thank you swag. I was thinking something like maybe the last year's GDG Worldwide Summit shirt, or it's just something to kind of thanks, Bill. So it's just something that to welcome them to the family and kind of something to start them out with so they can wear during their meetings and things like that, especially their first meetings to help them be identified. So along with that, our next one would be a tips and tricks book, either on a swag flash drive with a PDF on it or like the startup launch playbooks. So with that, it would include details, pretty much what's on the site a little bit, mentor information, what mentors do, how to have your first meeting, how to run a hackathon, just pretty much guides on our shared knowledge that we have to kind of start them off on. So getting questions from them is great, but at least they can start off with something. And with that, we would like to have mentors. I'm sure many of you have done it, have like a one-on-one with them when they start out. And this way you have something to go over too. Like you can go on a high level what the tips and tricks book is, kind of guide them through. And yeah, that's pretty much like a high level view of the welcome box. Any questions or any things we can add to it?
How structured would you want that to be? Are you hoping that that will be kind of ready to go and drop ship as soon as somebody might be interested, or is this kind of gathered as needed?
So the welcome box will be made out. Like Liz and Martin said that if we provide everything we need on a list, they'll and like work with the vendors and things like that, we can put them together and they'll have welcome boxes made. Everything shouldn't be outdated particularly. And the reason why we went to like the tips and tricks book, we would like to have printed material. Maybe have like the startup launch playbook and kind of like that one be, but have a very high level, then have the actual swag flash drives with the most current PDF. So that way they have something to kind of look at physically, but all the most current stuff would be on this PDF. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, as far as getting a group up and running, the other part is it's more high touch. It's not as easy to ship. Would be the a hangout or schedule something. I don't know if this is like a checkbox, but like say, okay, before we'll do a hangout with whatever mentor is appropriate, Martin and Liz, if that makes sense, and then afterwards as well, like a 2-month follow-up or something.
Right, and that would be established in one of the in like the mentor section of the playbook too. So this way we have this is also I think a two-parter where it's a guide for us to what to kind of go through, so we don't forget when we first talk to the individuals. Hold on one second. Me and Justin have a whole list of potential like topics within this. Let me grab it though, quick. So the couple topics we wanted to have in that book was the book contents would be excellence, a little training guide on unconscious bias, why we do this, how to find sponsors, how to find speakers, getting locations, how to run, blah, 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 like your first meeting, hackathons, Code Lab, DevFest, WTF events, and any other events that come up. Resource locations, so like our GitHub or any of like the 3 repos that we share, that's another topic for later, but share all the resource locations we have. Another topic would be women tech makers if they wanted to start one or have that branched out, how to get started on Meetup, doing their Google Plus page, how to report numbers, report events, how to get swag, the survey, best practices, and mental responsibilities, like I said.
Seems like it's repeating a lot of the PG stuff.
What was that?
I think sort of repeat a lot of the GDP wisdom side information there, or is there any thought of breaking that up and into that?
Michael, I'm having a hard time hearing you. Did anyone understand that?
No.
Reiterate?
No, I got nothing.
Sorry, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's significantly better.
My laptop's on the side. It sounds like it's a lot like the GDG Wisdom site. A lot of the information. Is there any thought about pointing to some of that, or does it really need to reproduce a lot of that information?
I figure we could incorporate both into it. I did take a look at the Wisdom site, and there's stuff in there that is prominent, but some of it is it's good information, but I feel that we can present it in a better way. It'd be easier for them to swallow than GDG Wisdom. I feel so hard, a little not hard to navigate, but it's not as easy as a PDF that we just handed to them. Yeah. But I'm sure we can integrate what we can contribute or what we find out and do into Wisdom, and also vice versa. So all the information, everywhere they look, will stay somewhat consistent.
Okay. What about you talked about the first note there was the website for onboarding. So is the thought there to update that site and wait for Google to do it, or is there some desire for us to maintain a site like that?
That's something that we did bring up, and we know, and Martin and Liz know, is a challenge. I don't know if that portion of the conversation went that they know it's not up to date, but there's not much they can do about it. So if me and Justin figure this way, it will be a better supplement. Go like, hey, you'll get a welcome box and more current information's there. The biggest portion for us with the whole the website part was we would, at least me and Justin would like to be more included when new GDGs apply. So that way we can go, oh, you're only like, half a mile, like not half a mile, but 10, 20 miles from another GDG. Would you like to contribute to them instead of doing a whole another one, or kind of gauge them too? Like I know for some of the GDGs that we started here, they have a really slow start. So if we know what limitations they have, like they might need another organizer or don't have a location, we feel that's something they need to figure out before they go, oh, I want to do a GDG. It's things they need. So it was more on, we need to be more included in the whole conversation.
Summit, see if we can recruit some people to work on that for GDGX or something like that.
Right on, that'd be cool, yeah.
And if we did this in a manner that allowed us to use some of the existing infrastructure that we already have, in terms of things like GitHub, I mean, Google already hosts a significant amount of their code repos on GitHub now. It would not be a stretch for us to do similar things. And then contribution would be simpler via this typical fork pull request sort of methodology, where people could actively contribute as opposed to having been onboarded even at the beginning to do so, which, as we all know, with the existing sites that they have, it's very difficult. And as James pointed out, like, they know this, but it's more of an internal thing, and there's really no say in it.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that as well. What sort of, is there anything on the site that shouldn't be publicly visible to everybody? Is there some part where only once you're accepted you see it, or is it more transparent and updated on GitHub?
On the site, I don't think there's anything particular that no one should know.
And we did discuss with them the idea of making at least one private sort of repo, The wiki, most of that information is fairly general. I mean, for instance, like the Fort Code Labs or the code labs that they put out. I mean, you look at things like the Cast one. I mean, that's sitting on AppSpot, which is App Engine. So a lot of that stuff is very public. However, we did talk to them about the idea of private communications, which is difficult because they have their own obviously they have their own sort of procedures for that. There are some stuff, obviously, that cannot be public, which needs to stay in the community and shouldn't necessarily make it to the repo. Linking to the community, though, doesn't necessarily give you anything from there as well. So we always could make a private repo to sort of mitigate some of those issues. And that's not a big stretch in terms of cost, so it's not exactly going to break the bank.
Did I answer your question, Michael?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions about topic number 1 at this point?
I got one thought on that. With the T-shirt, should we maybe make that after you go active, we send you a T-shirt as thank you for actually continuing on past the incubation stage? Because I know we've had some, I think, that do 1 or 2 meetings and then they're gone.
I feel so. The T-shirt itself was just the idea, but I do feel that it might be worth making them feel like they're part of something. I mean, a T-shirt costs what, like $10? It's not that big of a cost to make them feel like they belong. And that way, we can go, hey, we're gonna send you a box of stuff that kind of help you start out instead of how we started out. We're like, oh, okay, we're GDG. What do we? Oh man, we need stickers, or we need this, or kind of just start out with nothing. At least this way, they can wear a swag shirt or a hat or whatever to their first meeting and go like, I am a GDG organizer, and so on. That might be something worth thinking about if, yeah, we're thinking small costs for a big gain. So I hear what you're saying, Dan, but I think it might be just worth kind of go, if it's a loss, it's a loss, but it's only $10 or $20.
Yeah.
I see you're talking, but you're muted.
I clicked on mute, I swear. It wasn't a cost of, or a thought about money more as it was more of a thank you for actually doing something than a thank you for filling out a form and us just sending you stuff.
Right, I could see that. Does anyone have any other thoughts on this?
Something to follow up after the exit innovating or incubating. It'd be nice to have some kind of, at least a letter or a flag or something.
That was hard to hear you, Mike. I know you're talking to your mic, but
It would be nice when they leave incubating that they could actually get a letter or a swag or something. I don't know that necessarily a T-shirt.
that could be that could be the case that instead of having like the organizer swipe be part of the original thank you box, maybe we have like a follow-up box that like you passed the incubating stage. You're doing a wonderful job. Keep going. Kind of box. The one thing we do have to keep in mind is what we suggested. Well, me and Justin were throwing out ideas, and some things we suggested was if they could send us the boxes and we send them out, that might make the workload for them less compared to if they have to, call up FedEx to pick up the boxes to send them out or something like that. So throwing out a second box for like us sending one might not be that much effort compared to them taking the time out to send a box out. Like if they can mass ship something to somewhere to like all of us and we ship it out again, that might be the solution we need to do.
Even if we had just some sort of like digital certificate with their name on it and something like that, I mean, just something to recognize that they're out of the incubation phase would be nice, I think.
Okay, that's also something we can we'll add. Let's see, that's the playbook. Give me 1 second. I'm writing this up then.
Am I easier to hear now?
Yeah, yeah.
I opened the laptop, so maybe that'll help.
It's a huge, huge difference. Thank you for doing that.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Um, so if no one else has anything about onboarding, topic number 1, I'm going to move on. Okay. So a second topic we brought up was improving GDGs. Not like where the GDGs are doing bad, it's just ways to make things more standardized and more fluid is what we really wanted to do. Some topics we brought up was, I brought up this before to them, and I bet some of you have too, is having email addresses specific for the GDGs. I know when it was brought up to Adriana and Van when he was here, I guess there was one when it was back in the day when it was GTUG, but it was really hard to maintain because they pretty much had to maintain it, and to add people all over the world was too much of a demand and too hard for them to keep up with everything. So at least within North America, they have us now, and we can maintain our own regions for that. So the reason why we wanted to do this was, one, it kind of forces us to be part of the whole, the steps that link up to them starting a GDG. That and the GDG, the Google Plus page that's part of it will be owned by that specific email address. Next is when people leave or disappear and fade away or something, then their GDG information is all there still. Like if people are emailing or trying to follow up or trying to do something with that specific GDG that went completely dormant or died off, we have something to start out with. Like if as mentors, we can check the emails and go, oh, they haven't had meetings in, 5 or 6 months, but it looks like this one person really wants GDG to survive, and maybe we can reach out to them and kind of start them up again within the GDG as an organizer. So it was just an easier way to hand things off. Another thing that would be nice would be with our current situation with payments and stuff like that. I know it's changing to where they're paying us money or something like that, either in like our PayPal or Google Wallet or something like that. And if we can make that Google Wallet be tied to one of our run Gmails accounts, then that could help keep people kind of like running off with the money in that sense. Like we can take that back somehow. So that's the reasons for email. Another topic we brought up was GDG SyncUp, GDE SyncUp. We really want to kind of be more incorporated with GDEs. And one idea we thought about was maintaining a list of people who need speakers, and people like Justin, who is also a GDE, will represent us and represent all of us, all the GDGs, and go, hey, we have this list. Can anyone do these things? And hopefully some of the GDEs will step up and help be a speaker at our events or the other GDG events where they are having a hard time getting speakers. Another portion of that was have like an Airbnb-like structure, where if a GDG organizer is willing to kind of house or uh, pretty much house either a GDE or something we'll want to include also with Googlers. If we have this whole Airbnb structure, then maybe on like a way to a trip or something like that, they can stop by and do a meeting for us and be a speaker at a meeting for having to stay at our place or something. So that was one of our ideas also. I don't know if you guys have seen when you went to Google that Google actually has a system like this for internal Googlers, like for themselves, and they can post up, oh, I have rooms at this times in this places, and Googlers can actually talk to other Googlers and stay at their places. So that's where kind of the inspiration came from. And if we can structure our system kind of like that, that might be worthwhile. And even this can even work with GDG organizers too. I mean, there's topics that we can all talk about. And if you're in town somewhere else, then this way you can use that system also to get some free housing or whatnot. The next topic that we talked about was swag. You know, like not everything has to do about swag, but it is nice to have somewhere we can reach out to get swag for our events or something like that. Instead of having to go to like the Google store, it's really expensive, or trying to find our own Google swag. So one thing they said is we can work with the notes on there, not the Google store, but we can work with Google vendors, and we can create like a warehouse of swags kind of, and get it off that way, so we can send the stuff out to people. I don't know if it's something that system's going to be where us, the mentors, kind of maintain that warehouse in that sense, or we can call, like the individual GDGs can email someone or call someone up and get sent that stuff. And that's something we'll have to determine as we kind of figure out how to do this part. So at least in the realm of improving GDGs, that's what we came up with. Any questions, concerns?
I love the email idea. I just started a Twitter account. It ends up being under my address, and I'm about to move, right? So that's a terrible one. The meetup, you know, I'm the primary organizer. If there was an account that we could tie that to, that would be fantastic. I mean, all the reasons you outlined are exactly the things that we do in the office. We create alias email addresses that 2 or 3 people have access to, so that we're not signing up on Google Play with bill.mode@gmail.com, you know, that kind of stuff. So I think that one's a big one. The swag, I love the idea. People love getting swag when they come to the meetups, whether it's door prizes or whatever. My biggest fear will be the people that are doing the least will take the most, and then it'll be a resource that dries up pretty quickly.
I feel like that's a good point that we need to keep in mind, and maybe that's why, as mentors, we become the warehouse. We know who's, you know, active and who's not, and at least that way we can go, you know, you've done a couple meetings, we'll send you something, but you've been, or if people have been completely quiet, like, show us one good meeting, then we'll send you something. You know, like, it's something that we can control, and it doesn't put a burden on us, and none of this stuff is meant to do that. It's just meant to help the GDGs out, and maybe, hopefully, help Liz and Martin take some load off of them to do more stuff.
That's right. It's a good idea. It just, we'll have to watch it.
Right.
Yeah, I think both are, you know, the email addresses and the swag warehouse type thing. I think there's possibility for a lot of work and a lot of effort there. Be nice to have accounts and have some sort of a Google Apps account and have all of us admin on it, but actually shipping out swag and having like a warehouse and storage area, it sounds like that would be tough with, you know,
Right, and part of it could be just we're part of the approval process. This hasn't been defined, so we can create this system where we have like a vendor that pretty much is the storage space, right? They have all the swag and go, oh, this and that storage space, or the vendor goes, oh, Michael sent us a request for 200 stickers. What do you think? And we can go, send them 50. That should be fine. Like, we can be the line of reason compared to what is currently is like, oh, all of us have to go to Martin and Liz and go, give us some swag, and they don't have time for that, and there's no reason for them to be the persons that always have to do that too.
Yeah, I think having a vendor handle it and then have us possibly even have the swag requests come to us rather than to the vendor.
Mm-hmm.
We could put up some sort of a system for swag requests that we could accept or deny and things like that. So that would be good.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll keep that.
I would wonder about the people's perception of the value of the email account. I know I don't want to manage another email account. I could see a value in a forwarding account. So if somehow, like if that was the official forwarding account, that would then go to, and that could easily be shifted around. But the last thing I want is one more email account that I need to manage and log into and transfer ownership and do different things and have multiple people checking.
Yeah, well, that's what I was hoping for also, was something that you would send to GDG Cincy, and GDG Cincy would send to Bill and Patrick, and then
Sure.
So I could sign up at Twitter, I could sign up at Google+, I could sign up on all those things that I need to, and then the organizers would get it.
And that's the limitations we could create. It doesn't have to be something like James Chad at gdgfresno.gdg.com or something. It can be gdgfresno@gdg.com or whatever. So that way, more exposure can happen. I mean, I think at least these solutions I'm coming up with might be kind of focused on what I've been seeing is like the main organizer is on the list for everything, and they step away. But the co-organizer is still running things, but all that stuff is going to the main guy, and it could cause problems, like
Right.
things to address or something like that.
Well, what
you're talking about would be a great idea.
So the other way of handling that is to put that in kind of best practices. So, like we have for ours, we have info@gdgtc.com,
Mm-hmm.
and so anything that goes to there goes to whoever would like it, and that's just a forwarder.
Right.
And then events, like, so our Eventbrite is set up with events@gdgtc.com, and that's fine. I don't. So that I think that definitely falls under the best practices. I don't know who would want to take on the management of administering. What are there, like 1,000 GDG groups now?
We would probably start with North America and just kind of pilot the system and see how that works.
Sure.
And, I mean, as regions, the first startup might be kind of hard, but maintaining it shouldn't be. And the reason why I kind of wanted to have a backup of all the emails is in case, like if you're at site, Lloyd, like everyone just went quiet, we would have nothing. We would have no system of anything. We wouldn't know who was active, if anyone's emailing anyone. Like, at least this way, we have somewhere to hand it off to someone else, instead of relying on you as good sports to hand it off to someone else, in that sense.
What does, there's the other thing with email is that there's some cachet in having the official email. I mean, as long as we're coming up with ideas, I would advocate for having like GDG Twin Cities at google.com. Now that's something I could get interested in, and having that just be also same thing, just a forwarding, like not actual whatever. Now, as I say that out loud, I know there's no reason why Google would let us have an @Google account, but some level of additional cachet that associates it with it, or like GoogleDevelopers.com or something that makes that account a little more official.
Mm-hmm. That's probably something we have to talk to them about, and at least before, and my past experience bringing things up like that is, I don't know like how your company's set up, but we're GDG Fresno. We're not Google Developers Group Fresno because we can't. That's part of our name. That's copyrighted, so we have to do GDG Fresno.
Right.
So I could see them having, like you said, I can't see them giving us at Google.com, but we could probably figure something out where it's more official or better recognized than GDG.com or GDG.org or whatever.
Well, does somebody own? I mean, is GDG.com even an option? Is that owned by somebody at Google?
I have no idea.
No, it's for sale.
And there we go. We'll get GDG.
GDG.net.
GDG.net. That's a good one. I mean, how we structure it is not official. I mean, it's not official. Like, no work has been done yet. But I do think if we can build the infrastructure using like Google Apps or whatever, and have it where there's email addresses there, but you can forward everything to anyone who's like actually forward the emails to whoever wants to be involved with the email, would be the best way, so we can have backups of everything.
Right. So I still think, like, I mean, I get the idea of it being best practice.
Right.
The other side of that, I think that I've noticed the need for is just knowing how to contact people. So I don't know if there would be a more official directory that would be available to GDG organizers to be able to find actual contact information based on. I mean, so we as mentors have access to the semi-official contact list,
Right.
but not everybody else does. I think that would be useful.
Yeah, that would be. I would hope something like this would kind of be a catalyst, but a helpful way to do that. Like if I wanted to reach Orange County, I would just do GOC at gd.com, and it goes to all three organizers, and one of them can respond. At least I remember last year when this whole mentor thing came up, like trying to reach out to everyone was super chaotic. Like I went on everyone's Google Plus, like,
Right.
and pinged them individually, and doing all that was a headache. And we finally got a list of all the people, all their emails and stuff like that. So,
anyway, I think it's a great idea. I think it should be proposed and see what other people think about. There's a lot of other things on your list. I don't want to get bogged down in this.
Right. Any other comments on this?
If it's successful, I would love to see it extended into the GDEs so that I could email android@gde.com and then get responses from anybody that might be able to speak for me, or Chrome or App Engine . Like, that would be kind of cool too if they had forwarders that would hit those guys. And I know you don't want to go there right away because that'll help kill it, but if we're successful, that would be fantastic.
Right. Ken?
So somehow I keep going back to swag. Maybe it's because my life has dealt with shirts in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So in one of my many emails with Adriana recently, they're currently looking into a global online swag platform for GDG.
Okay.
So just kind of wanted to let you know that. I don't know if we need to be a warehouse if they're already starting it, looking into a swag platform for GDGs.
So that So that's a great thing to bring in, that it might be coming in, and we don't need to do our own if they already have something. It's just
That's why I'm just throwing that in there since I have that information.
okay. Yeah, if you could you share that with me somehow so I can put it all in our list.
Yeah, I'll copy that part of the email to you. And by the way, you all get free shirts of the ones that Virginia designed. We'll get into that later. Let's continue.
I want one of those.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Okay. Any other questions about section 2? Okay. Section 3, measuring impact. So this is something that probably everyone's kind of going through and trying to figure out. There's with Google's expectations, I feel it's kind of vague what, and all the rest of you might have a different opinion than I do, but I feel it's very vague of what Martin and Liz give us as, hey, we need to report this back. And it seems like because of this, they do a lot of the grunt work and trying to put things to make sense to give to their bosses at Google. And if we can structure in a way where we give them the numbers, or even if we templatize how we as GDGs report our thing, or events and stuff like that, and they can pretty much copy and paste that information and send it in, that would help us understand what's happening, and plus help them out by giving them information in a structure they can regurgitate quickly instead of trying to pick things together. So with that, one thing that I feel we need to cover, not now, but eventually, is a survey. The survey is very broad, and I know Martin added some stuff later on, and maybe there's ways we can improve on it so we can actually get information that's relevant for us, not just Google. And I think that gets forgotten with a lot of their surveys is we need to know how to improve ourselves, if we can do better, not give you guys numbers. That doesn't help. Plus, we can't do. It's kind of impossible to ask attendees to do 2 different surveys. You know, like that's just too much to ask from them, and they're not the best. And Martin and Liz side of it are not the best at sharing back that feedback to us. So we would like to circumvent it or try to figure something out where, where we can actually get relevant information, not they get information and we get nothing.
Yeah, we need to run our own surveys, make our own surveys. We've had issues where they sent us the wrong results for the wrong chapter, and we asked, hey, we want our actual results, and we never got them for the Dark Flight School. And
right, and I think it might be as simple as them going, here's 10 questions we want you for sure to have, and you can add your own, and just send us the results after. There's got to be a better way we can do this, not this. Oh, everyone gets the same darts, survey, and it has no prominent information for us at all, really. Or even if it does, we get the wrong information back or whatnot. So with survey changes, we'll move on. We'll come back to that when we have more time. What can we do to measure our impact? The surveys, of course, support this. Something they brought up is apps, right? And the way to report it, maybe we can templatize some way to report that some member in your GDG has made something with something you presented. It doesn't have to be something you presented this month, but at least something came out of it. Someone did something with what you taught or brought up or gave information to. And if we can present a way for the GDGs to easily kind of like project name, person name, what it is, like what technology, and kind of like make it, like I said, a template to make it faster and easier for them, I think we'll see a better flux of reporting on that, not just from the really active GDGs. We'll hopefully see it more from everyone.
Yeah, this is something that is on the agenda for GDGX. It's one of the top things that we're looking at with adding to the hub.
Mhm.
and then possibly adding to Boomerang or something like that. I'd like a way for organizers to be able to just go and punch in apps and not need to depend on some attendee to fill out a survey or something like that.
Right, and there might be ways to kind of like, I don't want to say bribe them, but like in the sense of like we can, if they make like an Android app after you did your study jams or something like that, and it went on the market, and it's a pretty good app or whatever, like we can, you know, share that information with all their GDGs. We have like what number? Like what was the number you brought up? We have like 1,000 GDGs over the world. Like that's 1,000 more people know about your app than did before. So we can share that information with everyone. The last thing is we want to kind of put Google Analytics on everything we can. One, to show a flow of what the efforts we as GDG mentors and GDGs are being, the information is being utilized, like with our GitHub account. If there's no traffic there, we're just spinning our wheels and not getting anything. So we would like to put Google Analytics on much as we can so we can see the flow of people that are actually getting to anything. Even the surveys, like unless you're getting your survey results back, then we don't even know how many are actually doing the surveys, really. So we would like to see if we can do that everywhere and track it in one place. So you can just log into yours, like GDG Twin Cities, and see kind of what flow of information has been going for your stuff or to you or whatnot. So that way we can have a better idea of what's happening and if we're actually doing anything or doing things correctly. So that is with portion 3. Any comments, concerns, additions?
So the South region discussed a number of other metrics that we wanted to achieve this year. So we're going to be putting together some sort of a spreadsheet, I guess, to start tracking that. And at this point, I think we're just going to handle that with like a Google Sheet and try to start collecting information at each regional mentor meeting.
Okay. Can you, when you come up with like the outline of that, could you share that with the rest of us so we can duplicate your efforts if it's something we find worthwhile too?
Okay.
Thanks, Michael. Anyone else?
I personally hate their little tracking of apps thing, and that's a personal thing. To me, I know that I can't change what Google wants to do, but for me, it really means a lot more when I hear a guy in my community hooked up with a company through my GDG. I feel like that made a hell of a lot more of an impact than any app ever will.
No,
So,
I agree with you. It's just, I guess we're just feeding the line.
I know, I just need my peanut gallery on that one, because
Yeah, right.
that just bothers me, that app thing.
Yeah, I mean, something that me and Justin brought up in this whole idea of measurement is um, we have a high wishful impact on youth and trying to get them involved and things like that. And we kind of blankly asked Martin and Liz, like, does Google care? They're like, we care, like Martin and Liz care, but Google doesn't care about those numbers. It's more about
Money. Point blank.
profitability and what kind of the developers are going. So it's the reality of the fact. I don't think it's harmful information to give, but it's not their basis. So
I know. Like I said, I can't change it, but
the best
I
we
can
can do
voice
is
it.
probably like highlight the couple we know of or whatnot. So no, I hear you though. Anything else, Dan?
No, I'll shut up.
Shut up, Dan. No. Thanks for sharing though. Yeah. I think most of us are in the same boat with you on that one. Okay, so Judy, for mentors, for us, we're one of the concerns we came up with was how to become more of a filter for the regional leads. For what they say, they sound like they have a large wave of email coming to them all the time. And if we can only let certain things go through to them, then it will probably help them out. How we do this, we'll probably still have to define, but there's no there's no good ideas on how to do this yet. A couple ideas we threw out was what was it? Maybe having them in the GDG NA community, not to share all the information. They share a little bit of it, then we blast out to our people with the official information, so that way we can get more of a flow of questions on our individual things. Or I guess we could pretty much troll GDG NA to answer any questions, try to make all our people go on Google Plus in the community and just ask questions there, so that way one of us can address it instead of emailing them specifically for stuff. And I think it's important to figure something out, because if they don't read the email, or if they have read the email and it just goes to their email graveyard without addressing it, then I think a lot of people have ill feelings about that too, like they're being ignored.
We need some sort of a system where we can get the requests and we can verify that they've been addressed. Some way of, checking them off, closing them out, doing whatever it needs to be done.
Yeah, one idea that me and Justin were tossing back and forth was having like a task board. If they've looked at it, they can mark it as looked at, and if they will address it, they can mark it as address, or will address. Or if it's useless, like don't care, then go don't care. So that way we know what the life cycle of the whatever we request is. So that has been something that we tossed up to them. I think if we make something up and kind of just go, here, this will help us, I think they will gladly accept. But I think a lot of their focus is trying to reduce the amount of things they have to visit. So we might have to.
And not for us to do that, to make sure that we follow up with Martin and Liz, and we've provided the information on this question for some organizer.
Right. So I mean,
tool for that, if it's Trello, or if it's, I guess Google Groups has some way of marking things, answered, but I don't think either of those systems are perfect.
Right. I think we do need to find something so we can know the life state of where things are. I mean, it's fine if you don't care about certain things, but we would like to know, at least for me, like I would like to know they don't care so I can move on with life, not go, oh, did they read it? What's happening with it? Are they following up? So, yeah, that's the idea of that. Anything else, Michael?
Oh.
No. Okay. So better forms of communication between regional leads and mentors. I think that kind of falls under that same bucket too. We just need a better way to. I know they requested that we put action required or something like that to get some action done by them, but even then, I feel things get lost to the void. So I feel that's somewhat challenging sometimes. So maybe like a Kanban board with Trello or something that might help. So that's something we will need to define, use ourselves, and kind of hand it off to them. A lot of it's going to be hand-holding from us to have them do it because we need it, not because they need it.
Can I chime in?
No, Dan, you can't.
All right.
Go ahead. No, you have great ideas. What is it?
All right, now that I'm unmuted. As much as this sounds stupid, but I have a feeling there's probably plenty of people in regions that are still emailing Martin and Liz directly.
Yep.
So I think it's more on Martin and Liz to start emailing back to us saying, Dan, do you have any more information on this? Or, I believe I answered this question for you. You're the mentor. Can you handle this? So that they see that, oh, Martin and Liz aren't answering my question, which will then hopefully, in time, put less in their inbox.
That was one of our hopes too. Exactly what you said, Dan. Like, we felt when me and Justin were throwing ideas around, we felt if, let's say, like I'm just going to use the IO hotel details as an example, right? So if they told us they're going to send this out and we sent out the info, we would hopefully, they would drive our region's people to email us or talk to us instead of talking to Liz and Martin directly. I mean, some of the information us as mentors might not have, but at least they know that we are their source of communication compared to Martin and Liz being the source of communication. Do you think that idea might kind of support that? And maybe, like you said, if people are emailing them, they just go, forward it to Dan, and Dan can take care of it. They just forward everything to us, so that way we can take care of it and we respond back instead of them having to take care of it.
I know it'll increase the amount in my inbox, but if that's what gets questions to people quicker and gets people to take the mentor thing a little bit more serious and know what we are, I think that's kind of what it's going to take.
Yeah, we might have to just pull that Band-Aid off and do that. So that's something we can definitely bring up to them.
Yeah, I think that's good. We just need to be careful that it doesn't add a delay of days or something.
Right, and I feel exactly like you said, Mike. And hopefully, if we reduce the amount of emails that go directly to Martin and Liz, ours might be more up top of the queue. So if we could do a 2-day summary and go, these are the 4 questions that we had. Can you respond back ASAP or 24 hours later so we can respond to them?
Well, partly what we're doing is we're trying to come up with suggestions to help their workflow too. And we're not going to say they have to start doing this, but we could offer them and say, hey, this may help you be able to respond quickly, not to remove them from the communication chain, but that if we all are as mentors willing to take on that role, I think that may be a nice way of taking that, rather than to add necessarily some machinery that they need to plug into, and if they don't, then they're dropping the ball. But just to say hey, you're super busy. That's what we're here for. Pass it on, and we'll all chip in.
Right, and that's our biggest intent for this. So I think we should do something like kind of Dan said, just have them any kind of conversations they end up having with anyone else, they should just try to push into us, at least for the next couple months, so that way our region sees us as more than people who give out IO tickets.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're an actual information hub. And I feel kind of with that, they also need to share more information with us too. If we can't answer the questions, there's no point. I'm saying they keep a lot from us, but they know stuff that we could help them with, but they don't share, so we're just as much of a funnel point of information than anyone else is, because if we don't know the information, we can't answer them.
Hey, speaking on that note, James, Michael asked me the other day, and I didn't know the answer. Is there going to be any kind of formal announcement on who the mentors for the regions are?
There was supposed to be, but there wasn't. And our website with the mentors on them should be updated, but I think the only person that's been updated is Nadia's on there, and the rest of us are not. So.
Okay. And is there a way that I can go see exactly where all the places are that are in the southern region that are active GDGs? Because I know you can find North America, but can I find North America South?
I did that. I posted it for our community.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
There you go.
Right on.
Yeah, there's some information that the older mentors have, like the rest of us have, that you guys don't at this point, and we need to find a better system of. I guess this kind of falls on the whole email thing, right? We need better handoff systems, or including like when people get added, it's simply added instead of we have to make copies of everything for everyone or something. Like a central place where all the information is at, so it's easy to access for anyone who joins or leaves, or So yes, that's something we need to work on.
So should we announce ourselves as mentors and like start helping people, or I mean, it's been weeks and we're like no one even really knows to contact us.
We should do something, and I think at this point,
I guess there's another meetup with Liz and Martin.
I think we should wait till our hangout with Liz and Martin.
Yeah, is that still happening this Wednesday, or that's not
Still
on the schedule anymore?
it's coming this Wednesday.
This Wednesday, okay.
And Bill, I'm sending a link in the chat right now that has has a list of chapters that were in the South and all the other regions at one point.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, some of it's really messed up, like it had Vancouver in the Northeast.
Yeah, I mean, GDG Charlotte somehow ended up in Southern California, and I happen to know the organizer. I'm like, that one isn't right.
I'm just hoarding. I'm taking your sites away from you, so Pacific region's bigger.
All right. So I won't be there Wednesday, just as an FYI for you guys. I have other plans. There's no way.
That should be fine. We'll catch you up. Just ping me the next day when you have time or something.
I will do it.
Make sure you get the information. Any concerns or questions about? Okay. So let's see. So mentors and GDEs. So we feel that mentors and GDEs should have more of a chain of communication, so that way we can help GDEs be effective in our regions. Also, plus keep some kind of line of information between the GDGs and GDEs, so that we can utilize the GDEs a lot better than we have so far. I feel like they're a great resource, and we haven't utilized them as well as we could. But there's are active GDEs that really do a lot, like someone I know, like Justin and Aaron. So, handle feedback loops. That kind of covers what we were talking about before. Like we need to be part of more conversations, not pawned off sometimes. So they should pawn off more questions to us so we can try to handle them. If it's okay with you guys, I know we have meetings with Liz and Martin once a month, but having something like this within ourselves might be nice too, so we can go over stuff. Probably not as late. That was a confusion with Doodle, but think about it. I mean, we don't have to decide now, but I think it's nice to, hear you guys outside of Liz and Martin's meeting. I think the last couple months has been kind of shaky with that too. Audit GDG pages. Something that they asked us to do actually was mentor the GDG pages. Not mentor, audit the GDG pages to make sure they have their information is up to date, and at least on their GDG pages. And because that information is being pulled by GDG developers, and if your organizers aren't on there, then it won't be reflected on the other place either. But sometimes that doesn't work anyway either. So they need to really fix that.
They also had concerns that people did not have the proper disclaimers on their pages, which is a big deal for them. That you're a non-affiliated group, yada yada yada. They would like us to police that if possible, as they feel that opens them up to liability.
That too. Thanks, Justin. Any questions about number 4? And we're almost done. No questions? Okay. So last improvement or whatever idea. Improving materials. So the biggest topics we have was singularization. Like we want everything in one place instead of being scattered in the GDG verse. We would like it in one place. And if we could try as mentors to, for like when me and Justin are going through this, like we don't care where it lives. We just want it all in one place. Like right now, me and Justin are trying to push us all to be on GitHub. I know some of you aren't on GitHub, and that's fine. It's just if we get slides or something like that, if we could put it there so everyone can share, that would be a good thing. But we have everything so scattered. Like Liz and Martin have their own repos. Adriana has her own repos for the worldwide thing, but some of it's exactly the same information, or it might not be the same information. So it's just way too scattered. And something we would like to push really is synchronization. Like just have everything in one place, or have if everyone goes to GitHub, and I know a lot of you have been contributing, like Lloyd has been contributing a lot to keeping our wiki page up to date, so people can link to certain things they need. So at least that way they can go, oh, where can I find this information? Oh, I should go to the GitHub page, check the wiki, and find it there, instead of I have no idea. I should email Liz and Martin to see where it is.
Right.
And the next thing is slide decks. Slide decks, a lot of you make slide decks and code labs and things like that. It would be great if we could also have that singularized, and also maybe a thought that came to us when we were talking to Martin and Liz was showing appreciation to people who make slide decks and code labs that are easily regurgitatable. Like, I mean, if it's really heavy information, we'll not be able to, like, I won't be able to do something for, I don't know, like cloud data store if I don't know. But if it's very general enough but gives good information and has the slides have good info on the notes part, maybe I can use that for my GDGs. And I think that also kind of solves the concern, not solves, but helps address concern of we don't have speakers. And it's a lot of stress and a lot of work for all of us to come up with our own content. I mean, but when Dart came out, there's probably like, I know they had their own slides, but there's probably like 30 different versions of Dart slides out there, like with the exact same information. There's no point of that. We can make one really defined code lab or slide deck, and everyone can use it. And with something like GitHub, we can just you can just fork it and change it the way you need to, or whatever. So that way we can maintain of where everything came from, and also every other one. So we can see who forked it, and if their improvements are better, we can absorb those changes into the main one. And it's also something we would like to possibly do is, like I said, show more appreciation to those who actually do that, and maybe do, I don't know, like Liz and Martin said, maybe do like a raffle prize of whoever contributes to the GitHub and puts in code labs or whatnot, or slides, so that way we can show the appreciation to the people who are actually contributing to it. And there's probably better ways to do that, but another thing to show appreciation. But another thing we would like to do is work with the GDEs who are already making some content and have them kind of pay more attention to detail about putting notes in their slides or any other notes they can provide for a certain topic, so we can use those slide decks and code labs again instead of having to rely on a GDE to run the whole thing. We can rely on their knowledge that they can share.
So the global community is using the Drive folder.
Yeah.
I know not everyone has permissions and whatnot, but I do have permission to add and edit as well as give people access to it.
Cool. Okay.
So if you want to get that going, there's already a lot going on there. Adriana and Sarah are both setting up the folder structure and starting to add things. So that's where the global community is focused, at least for sharing resources.
How are they? The last time I had checked in there, it seemed pretty like a nice start. How are they doing for content? Is there decent stuff in there?
There's a lot more now. Yeah.
Great.
They're putting all the Google content in there, plus there's a lot of different content for different products.
Maybe another idea we could do for that is maybe set up best practices for slides that people make. So, I mean, the slides are nice, but if someone's not versed in all that, everything, they might not know what to do with it. So, it might be, I mean, it's just as useless at that point. So,
Right.
maybe something we could do is go, hey, if you make slides, thank you for the slides, but could you put notes in of what you're talking about in the slides so that way we can use them. I mean, it's nice to have them, but I think the biggest hurt for most GDGs is not making slides, it's talking around the slides, really. So I think using what you said, Mike, with the worldwide Google Drive is something good. Maybe we can define.
Or is it, and yeah, also it'd be good to have that linked as a reference off the wiki, the GitHub wiki.
Yeah.
And I'm always less concerned about having a canonical resource. If the edges are fluid and you can get to the other resource pretty easily, then I don't care.
Right. And isn't that already on there? I think we've shared it, but I could be wrong.
It's probably on there.
Yeah, I think it's on there. Maybe. we put one of the drive folders on there.
Right.
Could you provide us that link, Michael, just to make sure we have it on there?
Okay. And yeah, I just need email addresses, and I can add people to that. I just added Bill. I don't think I have everyone else's email handy.
Yeah. So yeah, we can either give you our email, or I guess if you provide us a link, we can request.
Yeah, if you throw it in a group chat, I can do it right now.
Oh, that's it. Cool. That works too. So, thanks for the information, Michael. And that's something we should put on our wiki. And maybe we, like I said, instead of forcing people to use what we have, we could try to make like a best practices thing where we can ask for more information for specific slides or something. So that way we can actually, some people who are not versed in everything can use the slides over too. So, any other concerns or questions about improving materials? Okay, so that is the topics we talked about with Liz and Martin. If you hate any of the ideas, it's not that we have to do it. If there's lower-hanging fruit that we can take care of before, we just want it. We should address those, but. When me and Justin were talking over these, it seems like these were the high points and something achievable and something that we could, by doing this, we can greatly improve how all the GTGs run and how we run as mentors. So we welcome any criticism or anything really to improve this. I know it's getting kind of late for a lot of you guys, and I don't want to keep you too much longer, so. We can either do it here right now as an open forum, or you can add it to the doc I shared with everyone. Everyone should have edit permissions, I think.
So James, what's the plan with this? How's this going to be delivered, or what's the next step that you envision?
So we have Liz and Martin's blessing. So all this stuff, they were like, yes, we should do this.
Right.
That means that's nice and all, but that means very little. So I guess what me and Justin wanted to do here today was, if you are passionate about a certain thing, we would like you to be the picture of it. Um, I know that's the like something me Justin talked about a lot was the playbook, the tips and tricks book kind of thing. So we like to in the welcome box. We would like to head that on, but we welcome anyone who wants to go. Hey, I'll drive this.
Okay. Huh. All right. So that's kind of the next step. Now, a couple mentors like Nitya wasn't here, and who else are we missing?
Aaron.
Aaron, there we go. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I can update Nitya.
So how do you see, what do you want to do for next step? I mean, do you want people to step up or kind of think about it, or think about like things we might want to add?
A little bit of both. So, take time to swallow everything down, sleep on it or whatnot. And if you feel passionate about any of the topics, I would like you guys to step up. I mean, me and Justin would like to do all of these, yes, but I don't think it's timely possible to get everything up and running ASAP. And we feel a lot of these resources are really good for everyone. And any other ideas are welcome too. I actually don't add anything to this list. I will add you to our main list. This was just a high-level topic stuff, so I'll add you to the one that has all the information that we thought of. And if you have any ideas or whatnots, we would like you to put it there so that we can grow on this. So I'll leave it. No, I would love to go, hey, Lord, you do law, but I think it's up to you. We're all mentors here, so we're all adults, so.
Right.
I mean, Martin and Liz do want, like, they were appreciative of the initial list. We thought we'd get some pushback, but we didn't get a lot of pushback at all, actually. They do want help. They do want to push people to us as as either the first line of defense or at least to unburden them so that they can continue to do the sort of reporting they need to do. Because they've been doing a lot of reporting lately, or at least that's our understanding, having spoken with them, to their higher-ups to sort of continue to justify budgets. So, realistically, we do need templates. Like, we need templates for people to say, this is the things that we're being successful at, whether it's generating apps or not. This was just our initial list. I have no doubt everybody else has ideas that are just as valid, if not significantly more so. But I think together we can accomplish a lot more than simply Martin and Liz can do.
Yep.
So if you take up a cause and you make action points, and if there's something we need from Liz and Martin, we have to make it as easy as possible for them. Like, let's say we're going to do the email addresses, then we go, hey, just give us $3,000 and we'll set it up with Google Apps and Google Apps for Business or whatever, and we run with it. We have the freedom of kind of going, hey, handing out our hand and going, give us money to run with these ideas at this point. So.
The Google Apps for nonprofits is unlimited accounts and free. So if we can,
I wonder if that's something. I'm sure that's something Liz and Martin can push, but I don't know if we want them to push that for us. That's the biggest thing. Time is more important than money, from what we understand from them. So if we can start out as a business app and kind of see how it works, and they can move us later, that might be something that we can do. I'm not saying we have like unlimited money, but their biggest push was, if we can throw money at it to fix it, we should do that.
Right. Right.
So yes, I'll leave it at that. Like add stuff. I added everyone here to the master sheet or whatever, and add ideas or whatnot, or add ideas. And if you think you can handle something, please put your name by it, and we'll come back like in a couple weeks or a month or so and see how, or even catch up at I/O about this stuff. And see where people are thinking or have they progressed.
So, you know, one of the things that we'll have to mull over is my sense is it's always a moving target. So I'm always a little unsure about how to set up too much structure around something that's going to change within a month or two. I like the idea of the centralized or being able to consolidate the feedback forms. So if there's, I don't know if they have a standardized set of metrics that they're trying to collect, or even if that's something that we could just suggest and say, hey, for North America, we're going to collect these 8 data points to send up to them, or I don't know what sort of structure we could have around that. I really like that, and I think that's one that I've been thinking about since you brought it up. But
Okay.
is there? I don't know if you have any feedback around that, or.
So that's.
Well, we can bring up the template thing.
Yeah.
So one of the key things that they would like to see happen, particularly for things that receive funding, but also for things that GDGs in general do, is that number one, they need the number. Like they need a number of participants at a particular event, and they're not getting enough numbers in the system now. They realize that that entering numbers into the system right now is not exactly foolproof, to say the least. But what they would really like is photographs, event reports, the things that happened. And what they tasked James and I to do was sort of design some basic reporting templates that GDGs could use and drag and drop and create reports of sort of the activities that they're undertaking. Because to them, that's a major metric. It's something visible to see, and that's a huge win for them internally. It's something they need. It's something they struggle to get. They spend a lot of their time running around trying to put together those resources, like James was saying. And if we could design templates that would make it easy for GDGs to report on these things. And you've already seen it to some extent when Martin posted in GDGNA about the new, receive funds for I/O Extended or other large DevFest events. People are going to have to put in that report. If you don't put in that report, you're not getting funding, is basically the way it's going to work. But they would like more of that sort of material. Beyond that, we don't know. We pitched them analytics, particularly universal groupings of analytics, which is going to require some programming, to say the least. But it can be done within the analytics API. They liked that idea. They would like more numbers that can be proven, as opposed to some things that are very wishy-washy, where you've got 3 RSVPs, yet you have 40 people who signed up on your all of a sudden in the system. They're a little concerned about that as well. So they're not giving us really hard numbers. We're sort of guessing and saying, what about this? What about that? And we've gotten some good feedback, and then some other stuff. That'd be great. But we don't know if that's a major signal for them.
So a good thing we can think about is they can't tell us or something like that too, is at least as mentors we should know. Everyone else doesn't necessarily need to know, but we can direct things in certain ways that can help them out if they can't or won't share. I feel like we can't help them if they can't help themselves. Like they need to tell us what they need. So maybe that's something we bring up to them on Wednesday or even at the summit or something as mentors, go like, tell us exactly what you need, and we'll figure out how to get it from everyone else. And if it can't be a direct, hey, I need X from you, we can we can wrap it in a certain way to get information from people. We just don't know what that is, like Justin said. And like he said, we brought up, how about this and how about that? They're like, yeah, okay, but that doesn't help us. So that is a issue that needs to be addressed.
So I'm just a little curious. Do you guys have individual, James and Justin? Are you guys having individual regular hangouts with Martin and Liz? Is that something we should be working on? I know we've got a new kind of region that's firing up, and I don't know what the model is there, where you guys have extra communications happening.
Outside of this, no. It was more, we didn't want to bring things to you guys without filtering with them. If they didn't like the idea, there's no point of bringing this stuff to you guys. So outside of that, we haven't had any communication really.
Yeah, it was sort of a one-shot sort of deal on our part. We have no regular scheduled meetings with them at all, but we were just trying to fire something up, because the biggest hurdle that we've seen is that, you know, there's just communication can be sparse at times.
Right. No, I think I think the list of ideas is great, and I think it's great that you're taking the initiative on this. You know, it's as a recurring theme that keeps coming up with this is also kind of transparency and communications, and trying to collaborate. It's harder to collaborate with communications across a group if it's not sure what channels are open or kind of being worked on. So that helps. And kudos to you guys for putting this together. I think it's great. It's a good initiative, and I want to help support it.
Something on that note, Lloyd, I don't see a lot of activity in the Google Plus group that got created to kind of drive communication for the organizers and mentors. They're almost dead quiet.
North America group?
What's that?
The North America group has been pretty active. I've seen a lot of communication.
Well, I see a lot of people commenting back and forth on posts that are put out there, but most of that is still noise. I would love.
Michael, do you mean the hangout or the actual community?
I mean the actual community where, you know, I've seen a lot of news and whatnot posted and updates and.
Sure.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like me, I brought up earlier, is maybe something they could do is go, hey, we have updates. Talk to your mentors, or your mentors will give you updates, and if we provide that information, that thread is something we own in our individual regions, so that way any questions would go there instead of Martin and Liz having to troll boards. You know, we just need to go. You give us. I feel a lot of it's going to be, to put it bluntly, is a lot of hand-holding going, like, you need to let it go so we can help you. And one way you could do that is go, give us the information. Like, let's say, like, the hotel stuff, like, again. If they give us the information, like, where the hotel information was, we could have sent that out to our regions, and if they had questions, more likely they'll ask us compared to, you know, somewhere else. So, but
right.
Also the same thing, in the same sense, like, why have 6 different posts for the same information, or all that information? Like, I could be answering a question where someone from your region already asked and you answered too. So, yeah, I don't know how they would like to formulate that, but I feel them doing what they're doing isn't necessarily helping you know, either. Like, they're sharing all their information, they're still getting the grunt of the information flow.
I think right now with I/O, it's probably more of an issue of time than anything else. And them just trying to get it out as quickly as possible and make sure everyone gets it.
That could be it.
That seems like it's always the case, though. DevFest season, I/O season, whatever season, it's always scrambling to get the information out just in time before events happen.
Right, and it might be just they need help with it. I don't know. Like, hopefully, they see us more as resources as time goes on, and we can pull some of the load off to make things happen quicker. But so a lot of it seems very like sporadic. Like, oh, we're done. Let's set it up. Like, it happens in like instantaneously. Really, there's no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I gotta call it.
Yeah, we good.
Talk to y'all later.
All right. Thanks, Lloyd, for coming.
Yep. Thanks for putting this together.
See you,
Bye.
Lloyd.
See you later.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Cheetah. So yeah, take a look at that list. If you have anything to add,
Sure.
comment or whatever, just do it there.
Sure. I'll update Nithya tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thanks, Cheetah.
Hey,
All
thank
right, I wasn't first, so I'm going to bed.
Yes.
You,
Phil.
you guys got me out of bed. I started this conference in bed with you.
That was nice. I saw that. I saw your pillow there.
Night,
That
guys.
was closer, so we have
Yes.
some bonding going on. That's cool.
Later. Thank you for setting this up.
Thanks, Phil.
See you later, Bill.
Later.
My Bluetooth dice is still not charged.
You have to bring that thing. I want to check that thing out.
I don't know if it'll work. I've had it for a while. Let's go off air at least right now. If people want to stick around.
I think I need to head out. I need to go eat dinner. I haven't had dinner yet.
Oh.
All right, I see how it is.
Sorry, Dan. Next time, I'll buy you a drink and you can show me your dice. How about that?
All
That's-
right, I'll bring it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'll bring it actually. We'll see.
All
I'll
right.
tell you when to get one.
All right. That sounds good too.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you Wednesday, I guess.
See you Wednesday. See you later, guys.
Bye.